This is the Content Marketing Podcast, episode number 160, Why Your B2B Company Shouldn't Be Blogging. Hello and welcome to the Content Marketing Podcast. This is the show where we help you attract and retain business through the power of quality content. I'm your host, Rachel Parker of Resonance Content Marketing, and today is February 4th, 2016. Hello, or as we say in Texas, howdy, and thank you for joining us for today's episode of the Content Marketing Podcast. Just a reminder, we are live on iTunes and on Stitcher, so if you're listening to this episode on the blog, you can click on over and subscribe. And if you use a different app for your podcast listening pleasure, we also have an RSS feed, and I will provide that link in the blog post. I also have an exciting new resource to tell you about. We have a brand new ebook. It's called Ninja Secrets of B2B Blogging, and you can get your very own copy at b2bbloggingebooks.com. And remember, that's the numeral 2, so b2bbloggingebooks.com. Would love to hear what you think of it. Before we start, I want to say a big thank you to Bas van den Beld. He is a marketing guru from the Netherlands, and Bas was kind enough to include the Content Marketing Podcast in his list of 25 podcasts that will make you a better marketer. We are in some very distinguished company, and it's very much an honor to be included on the list. So thank you so much, Bas. Okay, last week we wrapped up our month-long focus on quality by talking about why your content team needs what we started calling a quality czar. If you happen to miss that episode, feel free to check it out on iTunes or on Stitcher or via the RSS feed. This month, we are shifting our focus to B2B blogging in honor of our brand new resource, our new ebook. And today, I will be sharing some reasons why your B2B company should not be blogging. And I'll explain that in just a minute. But first, it's time to check in with our news feed for this week's rundown of news you can use. Kicking off our news feed, we've got some news out of Snapchat. Yes, folks, we are talking about Snapchat again. And I am telling you, I got a feeling about this. I got a feeling that Snapchat is going to be the next big thing. It's still a pretty small audience right now, but it's rapidly growing. I'm reading more and more about it every single day. So take the opportunity, get on Snapchat, start a profile, or get an ID and start playing with it, because I have a feeling about this. Anyway, just a little public service announcement for your information. Okay, the news from Snapchat is that Snapchat is now making it easier for people to connect with you. Previously, the only way to find someone, and one of the quirks about Snapchat is that there's no search feature. There's no way to look up Mashable, or there's no way to look up Mary Jones Consulting Firm. You either had to know. Previously, the only way to find someone was if you knew their exact username, or if they sent you their snap code. Their little, it's a little yellow box, kind of looks like a QR code that you can find them that way. Well, Snapchat now has a third way that you can be found, and that is through a profile URL. And what those look like is the URL is http://www.snapchat.com/add followed by your username. So my Snapchat would be snapchat.com/add/RachParkerTX. And the significant thing about this URL is that it opens up possibilities for having people find you. You can copy it into an email, into a tweet, into a Facebook post, and then when someone is checking out that content, that email or that Facebook post on a mobile phone, when they tap on that URL, it will open a preview of your profile on Snapchat, and the add button will automatically pop up. So it's a very seamless way to be able to share it. Now, the interesting thing is, if the person is on a desktop or a laptop or regular computer and they click on that URL, it would just take them to the Snapchat website. It will not work on anything but a mobile device. Very interesting. But so again, you can share that URL. And by the way, I am on Snapchat. I am playing with it. I'm experimenting with it. And if you'd like to connect with me, I would love to connect back with you. And my username is RachParkerTX, RachParkerTX, as in Texas. So I would love to connect with you. And I want to hear about your experience as you get to know Snapchat. Okay, more news. This is just something that is just really, really cool, and it's kind of a niche thing, but I just wanted to share it with you. Periscope will now allow you to broadcast directly from your GoPro camera. Okay, if you happen to own the GoPro Hero 4 model, it will now connect to your Periscope on your mobile device directly through Wi-Fi, so that you can broadcast directly from that GoPro and keep that phone safely tucked away. So, if you are the adventurous type, or if your business is tied into adventure or sports or something very active, and you are a periscoper, then you can now broadcast those periscopes directly from your GoPro Hero 4. I just thought that was really, really cool. Can't wait to see what people come up with. Okay, our content hit of the week is a post called 11 Excuses That Serious Bloggers Don't Make by Jeff Bullis. Jeff always has some great content to share. As I mentioned, all this month we are talking about B2B blogging specifically, and I run into more excuses when I have conversations around B2B blogging than probably any other topic. And Jeff Bullis has heard them too. So if you are in a B2B company and trying to get your team on board, and trying to get your boss on board, and you keep hearing a lot of excuses, then Jeff in this post gives you some great ammunition to bring into those conversations. It's a very good read, and I will provide that link. I will provide the link in the blog post for this episode. Okay, that's it for this week's update. If you stumble across something you think might be of interest to your fellow content marketers, please shoot it on over to us so that we can share. Now it's time for this week's Spotlight segment, Why Your B2B Company Shouldn't Be Blogging. As I mentioned, our theme this month is B2B blogging in celebration of our brand new ebook that was just released. And, when it comes to B2B blogging, I have to say the blogosphere, a few years ago, even 2 to 3 years ago, the blogosphere was kind of a casual, laid-back, genteel environment full of thoughtful insights and contemplation. And it's a different world today. It really, really is. So many brands have gotten on board. And I keep trying to do research to find out exactly how many blogs are out there. And I think people are afraid to try and count them, quite frankly. Now, yeah, there's a challenge because there's so many different platforms and, people using WordPress and, well, does Medium count as a blog? And, there are certain difficulties around that tally, but I mean, it would have to, it's got to be in the billions. I'm just wagering a guess here, but there have got to be at least 1 billion blogs out there. Various stages of upkeep, various stages of quality of information, but it's just a staggering number. So that blogosphere has gotten so much more noisy, so much more crowded, and it is so much tougher today to build up an audience. In fact, it's gotten to the point where I am telling clients, if you're not going to do it right, you're wasting time and money and energy. It's just better to not even go there if you're not going to do it right, because you're just going to be spinning your wheels and you're not going to get results, and then you're going to get frustrated, and then you're going to hate blogging forever, and then you'll probably hate me for talking you into it. So with that, please allow me to share with you 5 reasons why your B2B company should not be blogging. Number 1, you shouldn't be blogging if you're only going to do it once a month. Now, this represents a shift in my own thinking because a couple of years ago, again, when blogging was a much more laid back exercise, I used to tell my clients, if all you can do is produce one really good quality post once a month, that's just fine. That's better than nothing. Go ahead and do that. I'm not saying that anymore because in just the last couple of years, the rate at which content is being created and published, not only in terms of blogs, but, we've got social media and periscopes. And I mean, it's just an overwhelming amount of content that is being published every single minute of every single day. And when it comes to creating content to generate website traffic, this is war, people. Okay, this is not tea time at Harrods. This is war. And blogging once a month is almost like, bringing a slingshot to a gunfight. It's like, why even show up? So, I'm telling people you've got to do it at least once a week. I can hear foreheads being smacked around the world when I say that, but it's true. You've got to keep up that frequency if you're going to get any traction. Now, sometimes when clients contact me, they want me to blog for them once a month, and they say, well, we're going to start slow, and then as we build an audience, we're going to ramp it up. That rarely ever works. That rarely ever works out the way they think it's going to, because, they start their little once a month posts and they don't get results and don't get results and don't get results, and they wind up giving it up altogether rather than saying, hey, if we did this more often, we might be getting somewhere. So, in today's environment, you've got to be blogging at least once a week if you're going to get any kind of traction and start generating any kind of results. Okay, the second item on my list is you shouldn't be blogging if you're, you shouldn't be blogging if you're looking for a repository for your press releases. Now, you're thinking, hello, Rachel, 2012 called, they want their problem back. No, I see this crap all the time, people. Brand new blogs on brand new websites, and I go to look at a company and I see they have a blog. I get really excited. I think I'm going to learn more about them. I'm going to learn something from them. But no, I click on over and I see a laundry list of press releases, and it pisses me off. It really does, because I think I'm going somewhere where I'm going to get some quality content and some quality insights, and all I'm seeing are these press releases, and they're the old boring press releases that are just dry as dust, and they're just awful. And I'd be willing to bet that I'm not the only person pissed off by that experience, clicking over to a blog and just seeing press releases. Now, if you produce press releases on a regular basis, should they be on your website? Absolutely. Put them up there. But you create a page called a media page or in the news page or something that is not your blog, and that is going to be the home for your press releases. But your blog is not a place for that press release. Now, if you want to take the basic topic of a press release and turn it into a blog, form it into something that delivers value to your clients, yes, absolutely. But copying, pasting press release, no, absolutely not. And if that's what your CMO is thinking that your blog is going to look like, it is best just to not even go there. Number 3. Oh, wow. I am just airing out all my pet peeves on this list. This is crazy. Okay. You shouldn't be blogging if the word viral has popped up anywhere in your conversations around it. And viral actually made an appearance on my list of words we all need to stop the hell using in 2016. Okay. I'm sick of it. And here's the reason why. Number 1, viral does not exist. You cannot create viral content any more than a Hollywood studio can create a blockbuster movie. That studio can create the best movie that it can, but the market is going to decide what's a blockbuster. Well, it's the same with viral. You can produce the greatest content you can, but the market is what's going to decide what is viral and what is not viral. And in today's environment, that viral content is more and more a mirage. I would be hard-pressed to come up with the last piece of content that I could deem truly viral. So an experience has shown me when marketers start using the word viral when it comes up with conversations around a blog, disappointment is inevitable, because that the virality, and if it does go viral, let's say you do have a post that does genuinely go viral, is that going to do you any good? Because viral is if it does occur, it's a flash in the pan. Something's wildly popular for a week, and then it just kind of settles into the rest of the content on the web. So, is it going to deliver results for you? So when we think about the audiences for our blog, remember, we always got to stay focused on that audience. We need to think quality over quantity, because when you start talking about viral, you talk about how many millions of hits you want to get on that post, how big a spike in traffic you want to get, et cetera, et cetera. We tend to think in terms of quantity, but we really need to think about quality. And think about this question. Which would you prefer? Let's say you write a really, really good blog post. What would you prefer in terms of eyeballs on that post? Would you rather have 5 really good quality prospects reading your post, people who could become actual clients? Or would you rather have 1 million visitors who would never even have a use for your product or service? 1 million teenage girls who would never be in the market for your industrial management software product. I mean, think about that. I don't know about you, but I would rather have the 5 qualified prospects than the 1 million teenage girls. Nothing against our young ladies, but I want the eyeballs that I want on my content are the people who are in my target market, people who I can start a conversation with and eventually down the road have a sales conversation with. Okay, number 4, you shouldn't be blogging if you've put a deadline on your blog's ROI. Now, ROI, y'all know that's a sore subject with me, right? And here's my issue. It takes a long time for a blog to build up any momentum. Even if you've got lots of promotion behind it, you're doing promoted posts on Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn, you're doing ads, you're doing blogger outreach. Even if you're promoting the hell out of that blog, it's going to take a while to build up a momentum given this noisy, crowded environment we're all working in. So if your CMO is saying things like, well, we'll try this blogging thing for 6 months and see if it brings in any business. If he's not willing to budge on that, it's best to not even get started, because 6 months is nothing in terms of blogging. Even if you're doing it twice a week, in 6 months you might start to see some very, very basic results, but 6 months is nothing. And even if you look at the most successful blogs, they have been around for a long time. Okay, they've been around for a while. They didn't start that. They didn't come up overnight. You may have just heard of them, but as the saying goes, most overnight sensations were decades in the making. And that's definitely true in the blogosphere. And the way those blogs have succeeded is they've built up audiences over time by earning people's trust and respect. People know they can rely on these brands for producing quality content, and that's what keeps them coming back. So if your boss is setting a deadline on when this blog needs to produce results, then probably best to not even get started. And the final thing on my list is you shouldn't be blogging if you're going to have the intern write it. I'm just going to put that out there right now. Not that interns cannot be very good writers, but if you're just going to toss it on your intern's desk and say, hey, the blog is yours, go for it, probably best not to get started. And I think I shared this story recently. One of my clients who chose to end our relationship, which, happens. They had a new leader of their marketing. Actually, their VP of product became the chief of marketing, which I won't go there. But and he looked at the line item for our services, for Resonance's blog writing services, and he said, I'm going to be a hero. I'm going to save us X dollars every month because we can do this blog in-house. We can do it on our own. And, we've got an intern. She's an English major. She's pretty smart. What could go wrong? Well, the answer is plenty. I checked out their blog recently, and it's so obvious that these blog posts are being written by an intern with no guidance from the senior staff, at least no guidance in terms of appealing to the people they want to appeal to. Now, yes, everything is spelled right and the grammar is just fine, but it lacks insight and it lacks sophistication. And that's especially tragic because this is a B2B company, diehard B2B company that is targeting the big cats. They want to go after the IBMs and the General Motors and the Microsofts. And this blog is just not going to get them anywhere because it doesn't have the level of sophistication that those bigwig clients are looking for. So, if your plan is to do blogging on the cheap and entrust it to your intern or to the most junior person on your team without any kind of input or guidance from folks who know better, or even better, if your neighbor's nephew has that great fantasy football blog, right? So he should be able to blog for our company. We'll pay him $10 a post and see what he can do. You're better off saving your $10. You're better off saving your intern's time for something more productive because what little money you will be spending will be totally wasted because your blog is not going to be created and crafted and written in a way that appeals to your target audience and that really reflects the expertise behind your brand. So that is my somewhat snarky take on why your B2B company shouldn't be blogging. If you have any questions and want to add to the conversation, I would love to hear from you. And the best way to reach me is through our website, resonancecontent.com. Now it's time for our content marketing tip of the week. For today's tip, I want to talk about building your B2B audience persona. Now, we've talked about personas several times on this podcast, and I think we all know what they are. But on the B2B side, it's a very distinct practice from the consumer side because we need to get a clear picture not only of the companies that we want to target, but with the person within the company you want engaging with your content. In other words, whose eyeballs do you want on the other side of that blog post? And I'm amazed at, let me make sure I'm recording right here. Yeah. Okay, good. All's well. I'm amazed by how many B2B companies don't get that. I ask them what their target audience is, and they can rattle off in great detail the kind of company they want to target. But then I say, well, who is the person that you want to reach? And they have, well, sometimes it's director of sales and sometimes it's operations. And they just have no idea who they want to be speaking to, who they want to appeal to. So from a B2B blogging perspective, we need to get a very clear idea of who this person is. And not only yes, we need to know what company, but we also need to know the person and not just their job title or their level of seniority or how long they've been with the company, but really get into this person's head. What are their pain points? What are their aspirations for the future? I even go so far as to give the person a name, and then you can even pull up a stock photo that represents this person or base it on a current client. And the advantage of having that persona is it really gets in your mind a person, fictitious though it may be. This person probably doesn't exist, but it's a representation of the person you want to talk to. And that way, every time you create a new post for your B2B blog, you can ask yourself, does this add value for, and then insert the name of your persona. That will help you stay on track. It will help your team stay on track, and it will help you make sure that every piece of content you produce is laser focused on the needs, desires, and preferences of the audience you serve. Okay, campers, that's it for me today. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Content Marketing Podcast. If you like what you've heard, please feel free to subscribe on iTunes or Stitcher or via our RSS feed. And if you really like what you've heard, please leave us a quick review on iTunes. I would so appreciate it. Also, don't forget to grab your free copy of our brand new ebook, Ninja Secrets of B2B Blogging. And you can grab that over at b2bbloggingebook.com. And remember, that's the numeral 2 in B2B, b2bbloggingebook.com. As always, I like to leave you with a quote, and today's comes from the great Mark Twain. He once said, quote, "Substitute damn every time you're inclined to write very. Your editor will delete it, and the writing will be just as it should be," unquote. Again, this is Rachel Parker with Resonance Content Marketing. Thank you again for listening, and we will see you again next week. Take care.